what's up, y'all? I'm Digital Soul.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Big Rube, and we are the Purple Brothas.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of the Purple Brothas. Myself, Digital Soul, and my partner, Big Rube here. We have a very, very special guest, man, a lead singer of the mid-90s group As One, and also mid-2000s as well, lead singer of Color Me Bad, as well as also a solo performer, songwriter, singer, producer, all of that, man. And I don't think I have ever met anyone in the business as much as a Prince fan as the both of us. And I finally did a couple of years ago when I connected with this brother, man. So I'm so glad to have him on this special edition that we're doing. We're calling this a celebration of our show, which is 1 year in the making as of May 1st. And then also a special dedication and celebration of the 5th year of Prince's anniversary, which is April 21st. So what better person to have and include in this discussion today? My brother here, Martin Kember, is in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, man. I know we've been trying to connect, man, for like about a year, and I know a lot of things have been happening, the pandemic and things of that nature. That kind of side pandemic issue. What has 2020 brought you, into the 2020 millennium here?
It has been a ride, man. Just like it has, to start out with, when this pandemic hit, I spent some time in the studio and started writing. And of course, it was right after the loss of Kobe, who was another hero of mine, and, everything I was writing at first was like sad, because that's just where I was at, just emotional, things kind of just representing, creatively, you tend to mirror what you're going through. If you're in love, you're writing love songs. If you're in mourning, you kind of, that sometimes is reflected in your art. And I spent a good time there, but I'm happy to say that I've been writing some up-tempo grooves lately that's got me dancing a little bit. So I feel good about that.
Yeah, we all need that. We always need something funky or something to dance to kind of uplift us and get us to, through this stuff that we've been going through. So definitely.
So true. So true.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as your history, man, when did you find, at a young age, or what age did you discover that you wanted to sing? What age or what stage in your life did you decide that?
Truthfully, it might sound cliche, but I don't remember not singing. I don't remember ever not singing. My mom, was telling me when I was a little kid, I would grab the broomstick and that would be my microphone, and whatever was on, I'd be just singing along, performing and enjoying. But I do remember that, some of the first records I had was Al Green's Let's Stay Together and Where Is the Love by Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway. And I think my sister actually bought those. I had an older sister, but I quickly gravitated towards, R&B music, soul music. And, once it's got you, man, it's got you for life.
We definitely are witness to that, man. I know that feeling.
Did you guys happen to see the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind and Fire on Versus?
Oh yeah, we did this.
Man, talk about the lifestyle and the soundtrack of your life, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that was 4 hours, man, and it didn't even feel like it, man. It was just hit after hit after hit.
And so we had some left over, especially on the Isley Brothers side.
I'm
thoroughly happy with what the Isleys brought, as well as Earth Wind, because I love both groups. I grew up on Earth Wind. Trust, Can't High Love is my favorite song.
Come on.
I love the song with Ramsey Lewis. What is it? What's the name of that? Sun Goddess.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but the Isleys, my God, man. Hit after hit of they could have went another 2 hours just on.
I'm saying, and also another thing that I kind of started doing during COVID, is, I don't know, like anybody else, sometimes when things have got you down, you try to reach back to your past, to gravitate towards things that made you happy. So I
Yeah.
started collecting all my vinyls again. And so, you know, coincidentally, I already had most of Earth, Wind and Fire stuff, the majority of them, but I went back and got so many of the Isley Brothers albums that I used to have, you know, when I was a kid that, you know, just over time, they just dissipated. But I'm happy to say I've got almost the full collection again now. all on wax, all on wax. It's not the same. And I don't mind the little pops and clicks and all that, because it reminds me of, you know, my childhood, man, and the way I was raised listening to music. If it wasn't the radio, it was pops and clicks on a record, right?
So what would you say would be your ultimate favorite Isley Brothers record? What's number one off the top of
right off the bat, I gotta say, "Make Me Say It Again, Girl." That's my joint right there. You're all I need.
Bro, let me tell you about that song.
Yeah, man.
That's a long song, right? But the beauty of that song is at the end. Girl, you're all I need.
Hey. Girl, you're all I need. Yeah. Oh. Girl, you're all I need. Come on, man. Come on. But you can't go wrong with Groove With You and just all the classics, man. I always gravitated towards, I love the funky stuff. Like, do you remember one called Hurry Up and Wait that they had? That used to be my joint. They had, "Hey, baby, the place is rocking, it's a disco night." There was one little disco song that they did, I think like 1979, 78, something like that. I loved all that stuff, but I loved their ballads, man.
Yeah, their ballads
timeless. You know, but and my all-time, you know, this is, you know, maybe a little odd for some people's taste, but one of my all-time favorite songs is Let's Groove. Earth, Wind and Fire's Let's Groove. That's, man, that just reminds me of such a happy time in my life, you know, when my parents were here and just growing up, and it just brings back all those good memories.
Yeah, and that groove is still infectious, man. It's just, as soon as it starts, you just be like, "Oh, let's groove the boogie now."
Right. I remember the video still. I remember the video like in the 80s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For sure. For sure.
And it has been, it seems like for you, bro, it's like for us, it's the soundtrack of our life, man.
Absolutely, yeah. And then you go back to things like Reasons and Devotions and Shining Star and all that, man. Just brilliant music, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I can't agree more.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. That was a great versus. I think that was probably one of the best ones they ever did. To go 4 hours, that's a lot of material.
Yeah, and like you said, they still left a lot of stuff that they could have.
They left album cuts that was not as popular, but I don't know if you guys know of a song called, from the Isley side, "How Lucky I Am."
Oh, you know, I know that.
I don't know it. No, I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up, my bro.
I'm sure I probably have it. Which album is it on? Do you remember?
Matter of fact, Martin, it's on the same album. It's on the Winner Takes All album. And it's on that same
Winner Takes All, yeah.
It's on that same album that you're referring to, the disco.
I got it.
It's on that same one.
I just reclaimed that album. And I just got Go For Your Guns too. Got that one too.
Yeah, it's one of those killer slow jams that nobody
Nobody talks about that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you learn something every day.
That's a serious groove there.
Ooh wee. So let's go, and like, you were the lead singer for Color Me Mad for how many years?
I joined them late, after really their heyday. You know, they'd had an up and down ride. And you know, it's well documented. So there were times when, you know, I would fill in for Brian kind of unknowingly, and nobody would really know the difference. But in 2013, they had reunited with some real good friends of mine, the group All For One, Jamie Jones and Delius from All For One. They were on a tour doing a lot of spot dates, and things had gotten bad, you know, for the substance abuse issues that were going on in the group. And actually, you know, Jamie Jones reached out to me and said, "Hey, there's an opportunity. there's a tour coming up. What do you think? I'm like, I want to sing. Let's do it. Right. So, so 2013, 2014, up till, just the beginning of 2015 was my time with the band. And I had a great time, man. It was an opportunity to go travel the world. We went to Malaysia, we went to Bali, and all over the US, just doing basically spot dates. And I had so much fun. And, the highlight of that was, those old school shows that we did out here in LA at the Nokia Theater at the time, which is the Microsoft Theater now. And of course, our performance on the 2014 BET Awards, man. And that was a crazy time, man. Just because during, just not long before that show, I had lost my mom. And one of my mom's favorite artists in the world was Lionel Richie, right? So here we are on live television, and we're going on pretty much right after Lionel Richie. And I'm hearing these songs that me and my mom used to play together. And, I look back on the video and I can see my face is all swollen. My eyes are, are all, because I was back there just like very backstage, just so emotional, before I went on stage, just like, where's my mom? You know what I mean? I'm on live television, Mom, where are you?
Right.
So yeah, it was just emotional. But, once I got on the stage and warmed up a little bit and started, loosening up and getting into the vibe, then I was able to really enjoy it. So that was really a highlight of that time for me. And I'm still real tight with Kevin from the group. Kevin's a great guy, and we still do a few spot dates together, basically as a duo. Martin and KT, formerly of Color Me Bad, and we've done several. Before the pandemic hit, we did several spot dates out in like New Mexico and Denver and all around. The more the West Coast with a particular promoter, and I had a lot of good energy doing that with Kevin too. So shout out to KT, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt. I know you here, and we all have an admiration for Prince. I told Digital Soul not too long ago I picked up a Color Me Bad album, the Time and Chance album.
Oh yeah.
That DJ Pooh produced a couple. He actually he produced the title track "Time and Chance."
Yes, exactly.
But, they did a song and they sampled one of Prince's first records. It was called "Crazy You" on the.
I remember that. Remember? Yeah, and I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I said, you didn't know that. I gave it. I listened to it. Like, listen, this is. Yeah. So. It was really nice that they, went back and lifted a gem like they did, like "Crazy You." That was like one of them hidden Prince tracks that nobody really talks about. Slow jam.
Yeah, so true. And the guys would always tell me that Prince had actually complimented them and was a fan of the group. So I don't think he would have let them clear the song if that wasn't true. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's one of those like hidden gems that nobody talks about. But
absolutely,
Color Me Bad came at a great time in R&B. You had so many groups in the 90s where you had Silk, you had Intro, you had Jodeci,
right?
Man, so many great groups back then, and then for them to stand out, especially when they came on the New Jack City soundtrack. When I Want to Sex You Up was like everybody's joint, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, especially with the scene in that movie and everything, it was like the movie came out on a Friday, by Monday it was all over radio.
I think that song sold that CD, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think you're right too. Yeah, Christopher Williams had some joints on there, it was yeah, Johnny Gill was killing it. Yep. Yeah, man. Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, and I know Big Rube, you mentioned some of those classic '90s group, man, and Martin, as I mentioned earlier, you sang with one of those groups and intertwined in that era too, as well.
Yes,
which kind of went under the radar, which was As One, man. Talk a little bit how you came to fruition into that group, man, and what happened there.
Well, that's still my core, man. As One, those are two my best friends in the world, Sean Harris and Jeff Gill. we started that group as kids basically, and we signed. Oh man, there's a whole story here. We can go if you want.
Go ahead, man.
We here.
Okay, so Jeff was an air personality and the production director at Stevie Wonder's radio station KJLH. So we were, we would sneak in after hours into KJLH because they had a beautiful digital 8-track recording system in the back, that they would record all the commercials on. So we recorded our demo, inside the KJLH studio right on Crenshaw in LA. And then we made some connections and shopped that demo around. And we ended up signing with a company that was originally, it was a gentleman by the name of Tom Klein who owned the company. It was called Indigo Records at the time, and he offered us a situation, and we took it. That gentleman later partnered with Suge Knight, and that label morphed eventually later into Death Row. By that time, Tom Klein was no longer involved, and Suge had partnered with Dre. But during that time, they brought in another producer, a brother by the name of Andre Bolton, L.A. Dre, who had produced hits for Michelet, and just a very talented musician. And we were young musicians at the time. We were still, we knew our MIDI, but we really needed a good keyboard player. Dre fit the spot. So when we went into the studio and he was helping us produce the rest of the songs for the album, we were hanging out one day and he said to us, "Man, what would you feel about me joining the group?" And we're like, "L.A. Dre wants to join our group?" We're like, "Hell yeah." So that's how it became As One. And then Dre, L.A. Dre, L.A. Dre actually took that demo over to Scotty Brothers, and we took it to Atlantic and Scotty Brothers, and Scotty Brothers made us a really nice offer, and we signed with them. So we were label mates with James Brown at the time, of all people. So now I think in hindsight, we probably should have taken the smaller check and went with Atlantic, because Scotty Brothers, they could get a record to first and second base, but sometimes it was hard for them during those times to get a record to hit a home run, just promotion wise, because they were an indie, so they didn't quite have the machinery behind them. But man, that was just some of the greatest times in my life, touring with my best friends and getting out there and supporting those records. And I think that the highlight there was our appearance on Soul Train with, literally the interview with Don Cornelius. And I'll let you know that during high school too, I was a Soul Train dancer. So every Saturday I was going down to Soul Train and just dancing and partying. So being, on the floor dancing, seeing all these fantastic artists come to Soul Train and perform, like Tina Marie and the Staple Singers and Jesse Johnson, and all these greats, and then eventually being on that stage, man, it was a dream come true. So shout out to Sean Harris, shout out to Jeff Gill, and God rest his soul, L.A. Dre. We lost him a couple years ago to a stroke, and we miss him, man. He was a good brother, man. And, shout out to his family, man, and God rest his soul.
Absolutely. Rest in peace to L.A. Dre, man. Absolutely, man.
Sure. Yes, sir. So
shortly after that, leaving the group just sort of dispersed after that?
Yeah. We did the first album. We were working on a second album. And in a typical scenario, the label was changing hands and different people were in charge. We were already there. So there was nobody at that label at that point that really had a vested interest in us. So the second album, never really happened. We had a lot of material from it, but it never got there. And so, Jeff was already, having a successful career in radio. Sean, who, L.A. Dre was still producing records. I think he went out on the road with Too Short not too long after that.
Yeah.
And Sean's always been successful in mortgage brokering and lending. And so, you know, I always had the day job too, but my focus was always on, you know, my first love was always music. So, you know, after As One, I went back and got the day job for a little while, and I would come home and start writing music. You know, and I was a single dad at the time too. So, you know, it was there was a lot on my plate, but I'd pick my son up from the babysitter or my mom's or school, come home, and as soon as he was in bed, I'd turn on my keyboards and you know, write more music. And eventually, long story short, you know, that music that I was writing during those days, it started out with a good friend of mine who believed in me named Elaine Roberts. He took the music I was writing then to a number of places. And eventually I hooked up with another great writer who was writing and producing a lot for Luther Vandross at the time, named Reed Fertelny. And Reed took that same demo over to Warner Brothers, and I signed a solo deal with Warner Brothers, and made a deal with Reed to produce the album. And that was, they wanted a very kind of romantic, you know, kind of Babyface-esque album, but a little bit more pop. You know what I mean? A little bit more polished pop, because I was signed to the pop department. But then, you know, during that time also, I was lucky enough that the label sprung for bringing in Raphael Sadiq to produce one of the songs, and you know, that was just a great experience also. So I had a great time there.
And that's the One Shade of Love album?
One Shade of Love, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, look for that album. I think it's out there. That One Shade of Love from is it 1999?
1999, yes, sir.
Yeah. Pick that up, man. That's still a good album to have in your collection. Definitely grab that.
I had lots of friends who would call me and say, "Man, you did it again for me." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Especially my friend Kai's like, "You did it again, man. I took her out on a date. I came home. I put on your album, man, and
yeah, man.
I was singing to her, and the next thing you know, I'm like, man."
Oh, definitely, man.
But I also you know, used the songs written on that album to kind of you know, play and sing to my wife too, who will be celebrating 20 years this May. So
congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Now the flip side to that, with making like you said, the more pop oriented songs, or the slow jams, the mellow music, you also had a hand in Tupac's career.
I did, yeah. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, you know, I was always a lover of hip hop music and R&B. And you know, even though as an artist at the time I was somewhere else, I still had this other side of me that liked to, you know, create hip hop beats and R&B and everything else also.
Yeah.
It was I actually was lucky enough to, along with my friend Jamie Jones, we were lucky enough to get to work on the Until the End of Time Tupac album, which we did the remix of Let 'Em Have It with Left Eye, and Thuggin' You Thuggin' Me with Casey and JoJo. And yeah, so that was, you know, that was a great honor, you know, just to be associated with, you know, such an iconic artist such as Tupac. And you know, that record went on to sell, I think it's probably up to 7 million worldwide now, you know, so, you know, yeah, so that was through Kevin Black at Interscope made that connection for us, and shout out to Kevin Black, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you feel about your counterparts, people that came before you, and even now, people like John B., Robin Thicke? If you think of people like Michael McDonald, Ambrosia, Hall and Oates.
Oh man, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was I've always been a fan of music first. Now, I will say with where I was as an artist and creatively, I was a little mad at John B at the time, but I was also a fan, but I was a little mad at him because I'm like, damn it, he beat me to it. but shout out to John B, man. He's an extremely talented artist, and I was a fan. Still am. In fact, he and I did a show together in 2019 out here in LA at the Canyon Club. He was the headliner, and I came and did a Prince tribute, basically as the opener for his show. And we had a blast, man. I had a 12-piece band with me that night. We showed out.
I actually was there.
Were you there?
I actually did that concert.
Got you.
Yeah, I was there.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was a good night, man.
It was definitely. And then from there, so once you get the Tupac project, and then you started doing your solo stuff as well, and then from there you went into Color Me Bad, and then you decided to drop another one, which was the Cycles album. That was about 10 years from the first album?
Yeah, the Cycles kind of happened by accident. It was during the MySpace days, right? And there were songs that I'd written for other artists. Now, because I'm a singer also, when I write a song, even if I'm co-writing with others, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to sing the demo also. Yeah. So some of the songs had, with my vocals on it, had leaked out on the internet during the MySpace days. And, it was, had my name on it, and people were like, hey, this is the new Martin Kember music. And I'm like, well, actually that was for Frankie J. But, so that's kind of how that album came about. So I was like, I also started writing the same time with another really talented partner of mine named Reese Nicholas out of London. He was 19 years old at the time. He was sending me tracks that I would write lyric and melody to, like record and send them back to him. And so I had this body of work, and I got a offer from Japan to say, hey, we want to give you a deal for the territory of Japan. So, is your album finished? And I'm like, well, it can be relatively quickly, and so so that's how that album came about. So it was released in good numbers and had a great amount of success in Japan, and I just kind of released it independently since I had the rights to it for this territory. I released it independently and worked with Emil Gantos on that record. He's another great friend of mine who's had most of his success writing those hits for Charlie Wilson, of late. And who else has Emil worked with? Pitbull, Chris Brown. So he was involved in that album. Reese Nicholas was involved in that album, and another extremely talented writer named Andre Lindahl, he was working with Rodney Jerkins for a good while too, like being, like a right-hand man for Rodney Jerkins. So lots of talent on that album that helped me collaborate with the Cycles album. And again, kind of like the One Shade of Love album, it kind of found its kind of cult audience and cult following. And, then you're looking online and you're seeing people to Australia doing dance routines to your song. Like, wait a minute, that was just recorded in my basement 3 weeks ago. So
that's gotta be a crazy feeling, right?
It is, man. The internet's, it's a blessing and a curse because everybody gets to hear your music, but the business was changing, morphing so much into how music is monetized during that time. So the Cycles album, I think, was just a special piece of work. And I'll tell you what, we were actually doing a photo shoot for that album. My wife was 9 months pregnant at the time, and she was helping me with the photo shoot. And right as the photo shoot was finished, she said, honey, I think my water just broke. So, all of those memories are all tied in with that album, songs written for her, about her, and then she's giving birth to my beautiful daughter, just as we're finishing the album. So like I say, music that you here as a consumer is the soundtrack of your life, but sometimes as an artist, some of the music that you write is also a stamp of times in your life also.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, man. So tell me about when you first heard Prince, and what gravitated to you when you first heard his music?
Well, I was literally driving out here with my family in the family station wagon. We were moving from the suburbs of Detroit to Los Angeles. And I was in the family station wagon. And I think it was somewhere like, I want to say Missouri, as we were driving through, I want to say Missouri, it came on the radio. And I was, I Want to Be Your Lover. And I had not heard Soft and Wet then, and I was a kid, obviously. So lyrically, maybe that was by design from my mom. I don't know. But I Want to Be Your Lover came on the radio, and I was like immediately just drawn to it. I was like, it's, he's singing in a false, but it's not Michael, but it was out around the same time as Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, so right. Long story short, the moment I got to, we landed in Glendale in Los Angeles. And the first time I got out, we went to the Glendale Galleria. I went to, I think it was, I want to say Musicland or Music Plus in the Glendale Galleria. And I bought it. I already had my record player with me, right? So even though we were living in a hotel, I had my little record player with me, bought that album. And, from that moment on, listening to songs like Sexy Dancer and Bambi. And, I was an addict from that point forward. Right. Then I went back and got the For You album with Soft and Wet and, all of the beautiful pieces that are on that album also.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. You mentioned, me and Rube talk about this all the time, but that album, that's actually the first album for myself.
Is that right?
The same song and same album before For You and all those other, things that he did before that. But that I Want to Be Your Lover and that Prince self-titled album, that was the album that was the first album that I owned from Prince, and the first song that I remember actually hearing it, and it pulled in from that point.
Yep. Yeah, it's just classic. And then by the time albums like Controversy came out, I was already, well into my addiction. And I think, when 1999 followed that was the epitome, for me. That's still to this day, my all-time favorite album. And of course I've got got the box set, gotta have the box set. That's my all-time favorite album, period. Just I think because that for me, it was high school, it was so much fun, and I was meeting so many different people that I had so much in common with. And just that album from start to finish, you can still just put it on and it's brilliant. It's just brilliant. Just brilliant.
Favorite cut on that 1999 off the top. What you got?
Oh, International Lover for me. But then you're talking about Lady Cab Driver and All the Critics Love You in New York and Little Red Corvette and DMSR and AUT. Oh, Matt, come on, man. Yeah.
I got to go with DMSR as mine.
DMSR, man. Yeah. That one is so much fun to play and play live too,
What's interesting about that album too, even years, it's been since 1982, since that album's been released, man. Still listening to it today. You still get new shit that's happening in that album, man. You just like, I never heard that before. You always hear something new in that record, man. It's
absolutely. Especially when you listen to a song like DMSR, because there's so many little minute things on the backbeat that that you may or may not catch. And I'm like, dang, we've been leaving that out. We got to put that in when we play it live. Yeah.
Absolutely. Totally agree, man.
There's this little that's back there that you got to really listen. And if you think about it, that's kind of the same little similar line that's in the Times, The Stick, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's in there. It's buried in there.
Yeah. It's that same little chords or hits there. You know, it's kind of like an extra thing. Yeah.
Man.
Funky. Yeah, we talked about the Times music before. We haven't discussed it on a show, but we're getting ready to. Just the funkiness of their first album, and just knowing that Prince was responsible for all those bass lines on the stick.
Oh yeah.
Get it
up.
Oh my God.
Yeah. When that came out, man. Oh man. Mind blowing. The guitar solo in it, the synth solos, and just the vibe just was like mind blowing.
Yeah, it wasn't too many groups at that point in 1980, 1981, and 82 really putting out those long jams, those extended jams on an album. You know, maybe Parliament, Ohio Players or something of that extent. But in the 80s, wasn't too many people doing that. And when the time came out, and they're bringing us these 8, 9, 10-minute jams with all this.
Right, exactly.
It's like, what is this?
I was a big fan of Slave too, Steve Arrington and Slave.
Man.
Yes. Got me weak.
Man, and Mark Adams on bass, man.
That's a bad one. That's a bad one.
Snapshot. That's my favorite Slave record.
Oh, mine. Weak at the Knees. That's mine, bro.
Weak at the Knees. Yeah. Weak at the Knees. Way Out was funky.
Way Out.
Watching You, of course.
Snapshot.
Snapshot was my joint.
Steve Harrington's Hall of Fame or something?
Hall of Fame, yeah.
Dancing in the Key of Life, or was it?
Dancing in the Key of Life,
yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Come on, man. You talking to people. We know our music, bro.
So one thing I learned just recently, when I've been going through my new vinyl addiction, is I went back and got the George Duke album with "I Want You for Myself" on it.
Yeah.
And and I'm pulling out the cover. I did not know. I did not know that Sheila E. was playing percussion on that.
Yeah, on that break. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know. And I'm like, are you kidding me? All of this time, I did not know. And I was talking to her brother Juan about it, and and then also noting that she was on Confunction too. That she was playing on a Confunction on the album with Too Tight. And I was like, and he was telling me the story about, she was 16 years old at the time. And, George Duke, basically asked if he could take her out on tour and, promised that, he'd protect her like a daughter. And they said he did, he did just that. And she was, just such an incredible talent and still is.
Man, absolutely. Yeah, rest in peace to George Duke, man. He's one of the masters, hands down, man. One of my favorites.
Duke
without a doubt.
Dookie stick.
Man, come on. So I was lucky enough to get to meet Sheila and work with Sheila not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. And I brought that album with me and had her sign it, right?
Really?
Which one? The first one?
The George Duke.
The George Duke album. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, because I'm like, I want the first one. I want her to sign the first one. And she's remarkable, man. She wrote on it to Martin, Sheila E., and everything is completely backwards.
What?
Everything is completely backwards. It is left to right. Everything facing the opposite direction. I'm like, I don't know if she did that deliberately, but I'm assuming she did. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, she is. If not, that's just part of her artistry. She's brilliant.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to meet her, and she had an art gallery thing that she had about a year and a half ago, and out in Hollywood, which was amazing. There was so many people there. Her brother was there, her pops, her mother. And,
beautiful people, man.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to take pictures with them, meet them, talk to them. They're just, beautiful family all around, man. So I know exactly what you're talking about. They're just great people.
So that's the next thing I'm really excited about is I'm working with Juan on his album, and we just recently finished one song and shot a live session recording session video of the song. And man, I'm sitting here and I'm because don't forget, man, I'm a musician, but I'm still a fan first, right? No matter what, I'm still that little kid listening to the radio, and so I'm in the Raphael Sadiq studio, and I've got Peter Escovedo and Sheila on drums behind me. And they're like, oh, and by the way, El DeBarge is coming to sing the backgrounds on this later. I'm like, wow. And the song before that they were working on, Raphael was playing bass on it. So shout out to Raphael, man. Shout out to Sheila E. Shout out to the Escovedo family, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to that project, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And people need to put respect on Raphael Sadiq's name, because
man,
I listen to him daily. I listen to him daily, bro. Like the Jimmy Lee album, I bump every day. His first solo album, you know, Instant Vintage.
And I just love those YouTube videos of him and the band. You know what I mean? Just whoo, they go in with Rob Bacon on guitar.
Yeah, when they're like over in Paris, you see those videos?
Yes. Killing it.
Yeah, put some respect on his name, man. That boy.
So it was funny because I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be me. So I'm like, hey, Raphael, you know, you worked on my Warner Brothers album, and you know, I didn't get a chance to do this, but I got a copy with me, man. Will you sign it? Had him sign it too, man. Had him sign it too. So those were in my personal collection forever, you know. The 12-inch single of Who on the Warner Brothers label with Raphael Sadiq's signature on it. I'm like, you know, I'm good.
So what made you start to do like Prince tributes, you know, for?
Well, you know, I was after Color Me Bad, well, I'll say after Mark and Brian reunited from Color Me Bad, Kevin basically was the stance, if Martin's not there, I'm not going through that ride, you know, again, right? Because there's you know, there's always drama. Let's just keep it respectful. And so Kevin dropped out. You know, if I wasn't going to be in it, you know, Kevin was finished also. But then I'd really, you know, during that time with Color Me Bad, getting to tour the world, I'd fallen in love with performing. And as an artist, most of the work that I'd done, other than when I was with As One, most of the work that I'd been doing was just, you know, in the studio, right? Mostly studio work, you know, producing, writing, you know, but, you know, during that time with Color Me Bad, I just really fell in love again with performing. And so then I was just kind of putting a band together. And I'm like, you know what? I love Prince's music, you know, and I love D'Angelo, and I've got some of my own songs that, you know, the people would like to hear. And, you know, so I was putting my band together and just kind of playing around town, you know, doing like the Zen Lounge here in Ventura, on Ventura Boulevard.
Right.
And just, you know, because I'm like, I just want to play live and enjoy music with people, because, you know, that's one of the best feelings in the world. So long story short, I was literally invited to be a guest with Marshall Charloff's Purple Experience. Dr. Fink was in the band at the time. So I was invited to come out and just sing with them at one of their shows in Illinois, which of course I gladly accepted. I'm like, what? I get to meet Dr. Fink? I'm there, right? Plus Marshall's extremely talented, you know, anyway. So they were doing a great tribute band. This is while Prince was alive. So anyway, I'm getting ready to go to the airport. All right. So I'm taking a shower. I'm set to fly out, and the show's the next night, right? I get out the shower, and I hear Wolf Blitzer saying, there's a death investigation at Paisley Park. And I'm like, oh, wow, what, a security guard or something? So I'm finishing getting dressed. You know, I don't know what kind of time passes, but, you know, I hear them say it's confirmed it's Prince. And, you know, like the rest of us, I was shell-shocked. I was distraught. I'm about literally on my way to the airport to go get on a plane and be a guest vocalist with the Prince tribute band, right? So, you know, I said to my wife, you know, we're both crying, and I'm like, what do I do? She's like, just go. You know, I can't get a hold of any of the other guys at the time. She said, just go, you know, and if it doesn't happen, just come home, you know? And so I did that. I got on the plane. You know, I was literally crying on the plane on the flight to Chicago. I got off the plane, and since I had lived in Chicago for a while, I knew, you know, a lot of the spots out there. So I went over to this soul food restaurant that I know does karaoke on a Thursday night, and I just went there and I said, hey, I just want to sing. So I just sung, you know, and I went there and just sung Do Me Baby. And, you know, there were other Prince fans there that, you know, were of like mind. You know, I got on this long tangent and I don't remember what the question was now, but, you know, we weren't sure if the show was going to happen. It ended up that it did happen. Of course, it instantly sold out. This was in the suburbs of Chicago. The show was a huge success and it was well received. Because I think a lot of people, you know, we're like, is it even respectful to do a Prince tribute band the day after he dies?
Yeah.
But, you know, they decided to do it. There were some people in the band that didn't want to do it. You know, but I'm like, hey, I'm here. You know what I mean? Let's go pay our respects to Prince the way we know how, by, you know, celebrating with his fans and his music. And the show was well received and it went off really well. And then, you know, from that moment forward, you know, I think part of my healing, part of my consoling myself and part of my mourning was, you know, to sing through it, you know. And when I got back to LA, not too long after that, there was a show in Los Angeles that Keisha Cole was the headliner downtown. And it was thrown on by the same promoters who have been doing R&B Live. So because Prince had passed, they were incorporating a tribute to Prince in with that show. I reached out to them on Facebook and said, hey, you know, this is Martin. I'd love to come down and sing something, you know. And I got a message back saying, do you know the Beautiful Ones? And I'm like, oh yeah, right. It's like, be here at 5 for sound check. So I got there at 5 o'clock, jumped up with the band, you know, a bunch of fellas that I'd never met before, but it was priceless, man, because music and Prince brought me together with that band, which, you know, is known as the Unit. And that's the band that, you know, if I go out and play, it's me and the Unit, right? Because they're brilliant, brilliant, brilliant musicians. We instantly, you know, hit it off together. And I think they could tell that, you know, I was no nonsense and about the love for music. And, you know, here's Layla Hathaway's, Stacy Lamont Sidnor is Layla Hathaway's percussionist. He's the Jacksons drummer. Kyle Bolton used to play guitar with Stevie's band, and they still tour with the Jacksons. So just seasoned, wonderful A-class musicians that you only find in, you know, in LA, right? And so, you know, not long after that show, we had a good time, you know, paying tribute to Prince that night. And I said to Stacy Lamont, who's the leader of that band, I'm like, hey man, if you need me for anything, you know, I got you. And he said, well, you know, let's exchange numbers. And he called me the next week and said, hey, we're doing a show at where is it, Sayers Club. He's like, will you come down and, you know, sing some Prince songs? I'm like, of course, man. I said, and by the way, I got a show coming up and I need a backup band. So, you know, we were bartering services. Yeah. And I just love those guys, man. And, you know, so from then on, of course, I became more involved in the groups like Prince Army Los Angeles and Purple Funk SF, you know, because, you know, you find some sort of peace of mind with people who are feeling, you know, the loss and have the same love for Prince and in the entire Purple world. You know, you find some sort of healing in being around like minds. And, you know, after that, you know, I started singing at some of the events that Prince Army Los Angeles had. And, you know, it was well received. I would just recreate, you know, sometimes we couldn't afford the band for those kind of things. So I just recreate, you know, some of Prince's music tracks, you know, here in my studio. and then just, you know, go sing to track. And it you know, was well received. And you know, I think that people could tell that I wasn't somebody trying to capitalize. I was somebody that was, you know, just enjoying Prince's music and wanting to keep it alive. So that's, you know, to make the very long story short, that's the reason I do it, man, just because I love Prince's music, and nothing feels like that. He's the greatest musician, the greatest artist of my generation, you know, since the Earth, Wind and Fires and the Isley Brothers and all that. And of course I love Mike and all that, but you know, Mike was not the musician and the artist, you know, the songwriter and the producer quite that Prince was. So I just think, you know, it starts and ends, you know, with Prince, you know. And so if I want to play music, you know, I want to sing a Prince song, and I'll sing some of my own too, but can we get back to the Prince music now, you know?
Hey, Big Rube, I was going to tell you the story real quick. I met Martin, what was it, in 2019, I think it was when we met.
Probably 19, yeah, late 18, early 19 maybe.
My buddy Victor Orlando is my good friend. Shout out to Victor Orlando.
Shout out to Victor Orlando, man.
Yeah, one of my good, that's my percussion homie there, man. I want to shout him out. You actually guessed it on one of his gigs out in I think it was Santa Clarita, out that way in that area.
Simi Valley.
Yeah, Simi Valley. Yeah, we met there. And I go there, Rube, and I get there kind of early, you know, kind of hang out with Vic, whatever, and they're doing sound check. Martin is up there singing Adore, and he's singing it with no music. Now, I haven't even gotten into the place yet. I'm just like walking in. It was like it was an outdoor festival, and I hear him singing, and I haven't seen him. I don't know what you know, where he's at. I just hear it, and as I'm walking towards it, I'm like, God, that sounds pretty damn good. Somebody's got it. You know, like not too many people can get that Prince falsetto voice. I'm like, somebody's got it. So I walk in there, catch Martin, like, wow, this is freaking awesome. So, long story short, after the concert, I get to meet Martin, talk to him. We talked for probably about an hour, man. We just exchanged, like, just like we're talking about, we just got to talk about the Prince albums and the songs we like. And that's the reason why I said at the beginning of the show, I don't think I've met another person that has as much love for Prince as we do. But this guy here, man, when we talked, I knew when we decided to do the show, I said, I got to get this brother on the show because he is the real deal. Not only does he sing the songs on the level of the way Prince does them on the record, but it's just so fluid, you forget that it's not even Prince.
Wow, that's high praise, man.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. Yeah, so and not only that, but I mean, I've seen a clip. There's a clip of you of with the actual MPG. You did some touring with the MPG.
I did.
Right after that, you did Pop Life, a couple of other tunes, man, and it's just top 10 superior quality performance, man. I just got to give it to you.
Thank you, man. And talk about a dream come true to get that call. You know, Mackenzie, who is the lead singer for NPG now. Shout out to Mackenzie, man. Another extremely ridiculously talented brother. He was actually on America's Got Talent at the time, so they had some conflicting dates. And I got the call from this lady named Jill Willis, you know, saying that she was their manager and that you know, they're looking for somebody to be a guest vocalist for some shows that they've got coming up. And I'm like, whew, you know, I'm pinching myself, right? Then come to find out later on that that Jill was actually Prince's manager too for a time. I didn't know that, man. It's probably good I didn't know that at the time. You know, so that, talk about a dream come true, you know, just getting that call. And I said to my wife, I'm like, you know what, honey? I don't think you get that call if you suck, right? So she's like, no, honey, you don't suck. You're okay. I'm like, all right.
I heard, yeah, hearing you with no music, just sing, as most people say, Acapulco, you know, he was singing Acapulco.
Right.
No music, man. It was just, oh my God.
But
yeah.
I think we were just mic testing, I think, at the time.
Yeah. You killed it, man. You killed it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Like, man, when you step on the stage and it's like there's Morris Hayes and Sonny T and all those cats, what was that like, man?
Hold on. I gotta show you this. My wife just had this made for me. I don't know how well this is gonna translate, but you see my little short self right around there, right? And you know, that was the standing ovation in the O2 Shepherd's Bush in London, December 2019.
Yeah.
And man, just a dream come true. It was surreal. Just, you know, and shout out to Tony Mosley, man. Tony Mosley had seen some of my videos that I posted online, like recreating songs like Scandalous and I think maybe when I recreated God, the B-side on Purple Rain. Yeah. He'd seen some of those videos, and you know, I guess when they were looking for some vocalists, he was telling me, he was like, man, we need to call this guy Martin. I'm like, what? Who? What? Calling me that? What? You know, so you know, I guess he was he slowly but surely got them to take a look at some of the videos that I posted and stuff like that. And you know, just they gave me the opportunity, man, and I'm so thankful, because you know, working with you know, on stage with Sonny T and Tony and Morris Hayes and Levi back there on guitar, you know, it's just, you know, it's surreal, man. It really is, because I you know, it's like dreams come true.
Were you sweating bullets when you were on there?
You know, at first I was just, you know, because there's two things to consider. Number one, you're with some of the people that you respect most in this world. Yeah. So you want to do really well. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, you know, to do well, right? And then number two, some of the arrangements of the songs are different. You know, I've been singing these songs from top to bottom as they're recorded all my life. But, you know, sometimes remembering that we're going to the bridge, you know, in 4 bars rather than 8, you know, those are things you don't want to mess up, right? You know, it's condensed versions of the song. But I'll tell you, one of the most surreal moments heading into those shows that I was able to perform with NPG, a lot of the rehearsal sessions that they would send me to learn were actually rehearsal sessions from Prince. So, you know, I've got these sessions where Prince is counting people in. So backgrounds in 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean? So everything is, and it's a real true rehearsal session from Prince when he was with the band. And it's just like, wow, you know, it makes you sad, you know, in one respect. It makes you, you know, miss him. It makes you, you know, wish like, wow, wouldn't it have been brilliant to be a part of this, you know, when he was here. But you know, but at the same time, just being a part of it in order to help, you know, people celebrate his music and bring all these Purple fans together and celebrate his music together, man, it's priceless, man. So whether I do it with NPG or whether I do it, you know, as what I call Martin Kember's Purple Musicology, which I do, you know, with the unit, or, you know, or whether it's, you know, being able to, you know, just perform to track, you know, at any of these events, man. It's just, you know, it's just something I appreciate more than I can ever say. Just being able to help keep his music alive and keep his fans engaged in his music and with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's also good too because now we're starting to see new music come from him. Welcome to
Yeah.
America is getting ready to drop. We can pre-order it now, right? It's gonna come out.
Yes. Yep. And the songs, the singles already streaming on Tidal. And yeah, man, I can't wait to see this 60 Minutes thing with Morris. That's gonna be. I'm glad he's getting the recognition, man, because what a talented brother he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Prince would have kept him around as long as he did if he wasn't bad.
That's a bad boy right there.
Yeah, he's a bad cat, man. Absolutely. Shout out to Morris, man. Morris Hayes, man.
Yes, definitely.
Shout out to all of the MPG members, man. Just I'm just so blessed the way they welcomed me. You know what I mean? Into being able to be a part of that, man. It's just priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that your wife captured that photo and blew it up and got it framed for you, man, that's love. Purple love to the fullest right there.
To the fullest, man. She knows.
When we think of Prince, we think of longevity, we think of legacy. What do you think your legacy would be when it's all said and done?
Wow. I don't know, to be honest with you, because I'm not sure that I've created it yet. I guess I'm still trying to create it. But I will tell you that when I look back at my career, there has always been a message in anything that I've ever done that has been hopeful to unite people through music. And Lord knows, when As One was first, when that project was first released, we were not long after the Los Angeles riots and the Rodney King verdict and all the division that we had between us as races back then. What was the group called? It was called As One. Why was it called As One? That wasn't because of that. It's just what it was. It was very timely, but it wasn't necessarily a message that, wanted to be heard during that time. So yeah, there was some, we were promoting those songs to urban radio at the time. They call it urban radio.
Right.
And there were some stations that probably weren't going to play it during that time because the lead singer, who's this white boy, right? We've got our own artists. I understand that, right? I understand that, and I'm not mad. I totally respect that, but, there's always, I just say that to say there's always been a message of bringing people together and unity and crossing the color boundaries, through music, which, then you look at my album, One Shade of Love. That's exactly what that song's about. The title song says, there are many a shade of our differences, but there's only one shade of love, and Color Me Bad even, was a Spanish guy, a white guy, a black guy, and a white guy, you know what I mean? And so, I think that's another thing that really related to me with Prince, being from a very diverse interracial family myself. That was something that really always, meant something to me with Prince, because, he would have all sorts of different representation of different races, not only in his band, but in the music that he created, and it brought people together, as Michael's music brought people together. Prince's music brought all different kinds of people together. And, so I would hope, when it's all said and done, for me, that message of uniting people through music stands clear, and man, I would just love to have one of those songs that lives a good 10, 20, 30 years after I do,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I know I can totally relate, being an artist and producer myself, man. Definitely the goal for me. Ruben asked a good question about the legacy, and that's something I never really thought about either. But I do know at the end of the day, I do want to leave pieces of me on this earth.
Yeah.
And also with exactly the point that you said, Martin, about bringing people together. Because I know that when I listen to Prince and I listen to George Clinton and Rick James and James Brown and Stevie Wonder, I know when I listen to these people and I go to their concerts or see them in, in videos, I do see not Black, but I see Black, white, I see Spanish, I see a whole melting pot of people that just enjoy good music and enjoy feeling the groove and feeling the vibe. And that's one of the things that I try to, without really trying hard, but I try to capture that in my music as well. Just if it feels good to me, I hope it feels good to the person that's hearing it, because I know how I feel when I hear Cameo and Lakeside and all those groups. When I hear those and I get that head bob and my feet is moving, and I want people to feel that same feeling when they hear my music, or in the same breath,
And,
yeah,
love,
absolutely,
man. Music is no color lines. You know what I mean? It's nothing. I grew up in a household where my mother played everything from Bobby Blue Bland to Kenny Rogers to one of the first albums she bought me personally was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band.
Ah, okay.
She bought that one, and then she bought me Andy Gibbs' first album. Oh, I Want Everything. Yeah.
I
had it too, man. I had it too. I'm a Bee Gees fan too, man. I'm a Bee Gees fan too. Come on.
I love the Bee Gees. I love the Bee Gees. I love Andy Gibb, man. I grew up on that, man. So
I'm not mad at you, man. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, I learned harmony as a kid listening to Bee Gees and Earth, Wind and Fire, and like trying to pick out the different notes in the background parts, I'm completely untrained as a musician. I don't read or write music. Anything I do, I just, I'm just interpreting, you know what I mean? What I've been blessed to be able to listen to all of these years. So, I even approach musical chords kind of as a vocal arrangement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt, bro. Yeah, we love having you here on the show, man. Just giving us your journey and your vibes. Do you have like social media? Could you tell the audience, where we can find you?
Absolutely. So Instagram is at Martin_Kember. That's Kember. Yeah.
Okay.
Facebook is Martin Kember 1. That's my personal page. That's where I interact with people the most. I do have a music page there also, which is just Martin Kember Music on Facebook. I haven't done the TikTok thing. My daughter's been telling me, Dad, come on, man, you got to do TikTok. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do TikTok, whatever. Okay. But so those are the two main places where people can find me. For the Prince tribute that I like to do, purplemusicology.com is the website there. And I also do a George Michael tribute too, which is a lot of fun. Haven't done that in a while, especially with COVID. But that is Careless Whisper, the George Michael tribute. So you can Google the George Michael tribute show.
That's a whole nother show in itself, man.
It's a whole nother show.
One of my favorites, man.
Yeah, man. You can't forget George, man. That was a bad boy.
George, bad boy.
Yeah, man.
And as a soulful white singer, whatever soulful white artist was out at the time, you get the comparisons to. So it was either John B, George Michael. Oh, you're Justin Timberlake. Oh, you're Robin Thicke. Oh, you're but hey, Michael McDonald. Let's not forget Michael McDonald.
Yeah. The originator.
Don't forget Kenny Loggins.
Oh, yeah. Kenny Loggins is bad too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And shout out to Bobby Caldwell.
Bobby Caldwell. He was just on my mind when you said that. Yeah, Bobby Caldwell too.
That's a serious song, brother, man.
Boss Skaggs, don't forget Boss Skaggs neither.
Boss Skaggs, yeah.
Oh yeah, he was funky too. So my wife's executive secretary for her real estate company in Chicago, she took up I guess would say metalworking, and look what she made me, man.
Wow.
Metal?
It's out of metal, yeah. So she gave me two. This one This one is just just cut polished metal. This one's actually painted purple, and then she made me a couple. She made me a couple small ones. So that's just love right there. People know what a Prince fan I am, man. So I had to share these with you guys. So shout out to Kathy Spano. Thank you for making these.
Yeah, those are dope, man. Are
and if the Purple Wall wants one, she can make one for you too. So hit me up.
Yes.
So are you gonna hang those on the wall soon, or what?
Say it again.
Are you gonna hang those on the wall soon, or are you gonna hang them down from the ceiling, or what's your plan for?
I thought this one might look good on my mic stand. I don't know what you think.
I think that'll work, man.
I think I'll get in trouble with the estate, is what I think. Yeah. But yeah, those are going up on the wall, and I'm gonna put this on the door to the studio, to my studio. Yep. So yeah. But yeah, I can't wait to get out there and play again. I'm toying in my mind with going out to Minneapolis and doing a show in June. But I'm just not sure if it's the right time yet. So I've been hanging on, trying to make the decision as to whether, it's the right time to go out there and bring people together, if it's safe to do that or not yet. I'd love to be able to do it. The band's available. So where everybody's kind of like, should we, so hopefully there'll be an update on that soon. If so, we'll probably do it at the Poorhouse, or I was thinking about even going out to the Minnesota Music Cafe and, doing something in June right around Prince's birthday then. I know my boy Alfonso Starr, he is going out to Minneapolis, and they're doing a DJ set outside of Paisley Park, I think, on Prince's birthday. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'll be tuned in from Zoom then. I think they're going to, basically do it outside of Paisley Park, but broadcast on Zoom or something like that, from what I understand. So, so those that are in the Purple Funk SF group, or Prince Army Los Angeles, look that up on Alfonso Starr's page, because that's going to be a lot of fun too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So yeah, make sure you guys go and follow Martin's social media on Instagram, Facebook, and you can keep up with the scheduling on where he's going to be next. Once the world opens up, man, we can come out and enjoy the show and get to hang out and listen to some good music once again, man.
Absolutely. And I'd love to do something. I'm talking to the Canyon Club about doing something very soon too. But they got to give me the right deal though. They got to give me the right deal.
We know how that works, man.
Yeah, they got to give me the right deal, because I know we can bring 200, 300, 400 people, but come on now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's cool. We'll soon find out, man. We'll keep our eyes and ears open.
I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you guys posted for sure.
So before you go, Martin, we want to try something new, man. We're doing something new on the show we haven't done before. I'm calling this A Minute in the Purple Mind.
In the Purple Mind.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to set the timer to a minute. I'm going to rattle off some questions, and you just answer as many questions as you can real quickly. This is kind of like
rapid fire?
Yeah, rapid fire. We're going to do this in a minute.
All right. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Hold on. I might need a sip of the bourbon for this. Okay, now I'm ready.
I'm gonna start my timer here. Give me 1 second here. All right, Martin, you ready to go?
I'm ready, man.
All right. Start. All right. Favorite 80s Prince song?
Favorite 80s Prince song, Do Me Baby.
Favorite Color Me Bad song?
Sex You Up.
Favorite Martin Kember song to perform live?
Who?
Favorite Prince movie?
Purple Rain.
Your favorite season of the year?
Summer.
Favorite Prince era?
Early 80s. 82 to 85.
Okay. Favorite song on Sign of the Times?
Adore.
Adore. Favorite song on Diamonds and Pearls?
Diamonds and Pearls, I would have to say Strolling.
Strolling. And your favorite instrument to play?
My favorite to play is not the one I'm the best at, but guitar.
Okay, so all right, cool, man. That was 1 minute in the Purple Mind with Martin Kember, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Thank you so much for joining us. We wanted to just thank you guys. Like I said, me and Big Ruby have hit a year being on YouTube and doing this celebration of Prince and all of his music, as well as the Purple alumni, Morris Day and the Time, the family, Apollonia 6, Vanity 6, Jesse Johnson, all those great people. We dedicate this show to all of them and continuing the legacy in the family tree. Also, the celebration of the anniversary of Prince's passing, which will be 5 years this April. We wanted to invite Martin on, as we mentioned, to kind of seal the deal and have a talk with him. Since we have a deep love for Prince and his music, we just wanted to share that with the world. So we're so honored and glad to have Martin on this particular show, so we can solidify our anniversary, Prince's anniversary of his passing, and also get updated with Martin and all that he's been doing and what he's doing in the future as well.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate being here, man. Thank you, gentlemen. I've appreciated our time together, and hey, let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. We're looking forward to it. And in the meantime, Big Rube, did you have any last words or anything?
Hey, man, as always, man. Hey, Purple Brothas, baby.
All right, no doubt. See you guys soon. Shout out to all of our Purple family. We thank you once again. We love you.